What's up, everybody? This is your boy Kayode from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and this is episode 111. Is this what you want? The administrator's report coming live with the AEW Collision in-person recap. Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize refuse to work match. Will this hurt them? John Cena is the Grand Slam champion. Westside Gunn and WWE beef and blood and guts, y'all, on this episode of On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
This is the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Kick back and hang with your hosts, Kayode, Luis, and Joel. Let's mark out.
Yes, y'all. Welcome back. Episode 111. We got a show for you today.
Yes, sir.
Right now, Lewis, right now as we speak, blood and guts is going on as we speak. The men's match just officially began. Pac just entered the ring. It is carnage in that ring.
Oh, yeah.
Moxley
you see Kyle O'Reilly
people,
for crying out loud?
Yeah, Moxley slicing people with the barber razor. It's nuts. It's Darby is taking bumps like Mick Foley in his prime. I mean, man, it is wild right now. Lewis, what's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, people? Welcome back to On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. It's your boy Luis, the administrator. I'm here with my guy Kayode.
Yes, sir.
I want to give a happy birthday shout out to our third member of the Wolf Pack. Yes. Happy birthday, Joel. He's on birthday sabbatical. So, much props to him. Happy birthday, and can't wait to reunite. But Kayode and I are going to deliver the content because we got some interesting things to talk about in this episode.
We got some interesting things to talk about. Let's get right into it. Number one, Lewis. Bam! You were live, brother.
I love it.
You were live at the AEW Collision taping this past Saturday, man. This comes up in your administrator's report, Lewis. You were live, front row. You had prime seating.
Oh, yeah.
What was this event like being up in that front row, bro?
Yeah, I wanted to give a real quick recap, a live in-person recap of AEW Collision. It's a Collision taping, so nothing monumental. But, from my experience, so this was overall my fifth AEW event that I've attended. So I've now attended 2 Collisions, 3 Dynamites, and a pay-per-view, which was all in Texas. This was the first time that I had ever in my life. Okay, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. I've been a fan, invested. I've attended dozens of events. This is the first time that I've ever sat ringside, and it's the first time that I've been featured on camera consistently. It's addicting. Like, if I can afford to sit ringside for an AEW show or any wrestling event, I would do it over and over and over again. There's just something about that perspective. You get the in-your-face interactions whenever the wrestlers are right there at ringside, and then it's so fun when they're like shouting things back at you in their heelish manners. But overall, it was just a fun show. From my vantage point, it was one of the best wrestling events I've ever attended, just because you got banging in ring action. I had the best seat in the house. You got some surprising moments with the Bandito reveal ringside when he was chasing Stokely. You had the joint at the end with Darby Allin with the taser coming out from under the ring. And then Kyle Fletcher and Ace Austin. That match was much better than it had any right to be. Ace Austin he shows a lot of star potential. But shout out to AEW for yet another fun show. It was a great It was what you would expect for a Saturday night. And I say this to the fans. If you have an opportunity, I know that Collision is the B show, but if you have an opportunity to choose between Dynamite and Collision, I would suggest going to Collision because
Ooh.
there's just something different about a Saturday night crowd versus
Mm.
a middle of the week work day kind of crowd where you're exhausted even if you didn't work. It's a different feel on a Saturday night because it just it's Saturday night.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. My voice is still hoarse a little bit, kind of recovering. But yeah, that image of me taking the selfie with the Death Riders, I might have to frame that. But yeah,
Yo, that's
shout
a
out
good
to
shot, man.
AEW, man. Collision was fun, and I sincerely hope to attend another event ringside like that again.
Man, so you addicted to the ringside now. Now
Yeah,
ringside it changes your whole perspective of what you're seeing. You're like you
yeah,
said, you're right there in the action. So you heard everything, you saw everything, everything was just like live and in color right in front of you.
yeah.
Now Lewis, let me ask you something, man. How was the crowd? Was the crowd hot? Were there times where they didn't have energy? Or were they hyped all throughout the show? Because, like you said, being that a Saturday, people have a little more energy. They're not in the middle of the week regretting that they're there because they got to go to work on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So, was the crowd hot? Did they maintain their I guess excitement for the show?
You know what? I thought the crowd was good. I
Okay.
mean, it wasn't one of the hottest crowds I've ever been in, but they maintained their energy. I mean, they were more excited for some parts than others, but they were hot for that main event the whole time between John
Mm.
Moxley and Roderick Strong. They were hot for the opening contest between FTR and Juice Robinson and what's his face
Okay.
from the Bang Bang whatever they're called.
The Bang
Um,
Bang Gang or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Bang Bang Gang.
They gotta
Um,
change that name, bro. They got
yeah,
like the Bang Bang Gang. Come on, man.
yeah, I
We
know.
could think of something better than that.
I know, I know. I'm not feeling the name, but no. Overall, it was a good crowd. It was they were hot for the most part, and I think what makes it better is the smaller venues. The smaller venues just add that level of intimacy, so
Mm.
you feel like the wrestlers are directly feeding off your energy as you're sitting in the crowd. So that's what I appreciated the most, and got to see some ROH action. They taped a little bit of action before the collision went on the air, and then after it went off the air. So
Mm.
overall, worth every penny for sure.
Nice, man. Nice, nice, nice. Listen, man, I'm going to try to get to one of these AEW shows, man. We got AEW Full Gear coming to New Jersey, Newark, next Saturday.
Yeah,
Um, I might have a scheduling conflict where I might not be able to go, but I'm going to see what happens. Man, I would love to get there, but right now there's still tickets available, y'all. Still tickets available in the 50s. You got $50 seats for that show right now. And you're
can't
getting
beat
Hangman
that.
and Samoa Joe. You can't beat that. And you get Hangman and Samoa Joe in a steel cage. So try to
Yeah,
get out there if you can. Try to get
yeah.
out there. Lou, let's go on, yo, man. We had some stuff going on in pro wrestling. We had some news, man. Nixon Newell, formerly known as Tegan Nox in WWE, and Miranda Alize or Alize, or what is it?
I think it's
Alize,
Alize.
Alize, Alize. I said
Yeah.
Alize. Who knows? Alize refused to work. Will this hurt them, Lewis? Give the people some background on this, man, because you had to school me on this. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand, and then when you told me, it made me furious with Nixon. The fact that she just didn't want to do the work and then complain about time on national air, bro. Come on, man. What happened?
Yeah, so Miranda Alize and FKA Tegan Nox, they made their first AEW appearance as of this recording. It's like 2 weeks ago now, but they had a match against Megan Bain and Marina Shafir. So the story goes, supposedly that Megan Bayne was pissed off because there was a double German suplex spot and they didn't sell well, something to that effect. And it pissed her off or whatever. So maybe that had something to do with the fact that the producers were like, hey, by the way, this match on Collision that you're going to work against Ty J, which is Anna Jay and Ty Conti, they're going to go over. You're going to put them over, and it's going to be 3 minutes. So, yeah, so the story goes they were scheduled this past Saturday to work the match, but they were not in agreement with the amount of screen time that they were going to get. They felt like the 3 minutes wasn't going to benefit anybody. According to them, when they went on Twitch 24 hours later, they had an amicable split, if you will. So there was no tough love, I guess.
Okay.
It was just one of those
hard
things.
feelings, I guess. No hard feelings.
Right. Like no hard feelings. AEW was like, hey, there's the door. You're more than welcome to to walk out. Because they're not officially contracted to AEW. So they were like, well, if you feel like 3 minutes is not to your liking and you feel like it's more justifiable for you to get more camera time, we got replacements. We can call up some indie wrestlers, which they did. Shout out to High End and Maya World. They're independent wrestlers here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So
Wow.
after that, all the internet memes and stories started breaking out saying how foolish of them. They were being mocked because of the fact that they didn't take advantage of the fact that you were being put on national television. Here's my take. Take on it, and then I'll let you speak your piece. But for me, there's two sides to every story. No matter what the situation is, there's always going to be two different perspectives. But in my opinion, I think that they fucked up by not taking advantage of the opportunity because Nixon Newell or Tegan Nox, she was released from WWE. And if I'm someone who was released from WWE, I would think that it's important to maximize every single opportunity that I can to rebuild my name and get my reps in, especially on AEW. That's the second biggest North American promotion. They're on TNT and TBS. They're on HBO Max. So you're going to have a bunch of eyes, even if it's a freaking 2-minute squash match. So that's my opinion on it. They had their reasons or whatnot. But Tegan Nox, with all due respect, she wasn't that big of a star anyway to be commanding a whole bunch of camera time. Like you're not proven in that sense yet. So I feel like it was a mistake on their. They had their reasons, but if it were me, I would have been like, "Fuck it, man. Let's just I'll get my reps in, and then we can build from there." But it could very well tarnish their reputation with future bookings, with other promotions. So that's my take on it.
Lou, I agree 100%. And one thing that you said that was that was key to this is that Tegan Nox wasn't that big of a star back in WWE in the first place, right?
Right.
She barely got TV time, and you could tell that the company just wasn't behind her 100%. They tried to give her chances. They brought her up to the main roster, and just nothing. She got lost in the shuffle. She was that typical NXT call-up that just did not break any type of mold or ceiling or anything to get seen.
She was with Dakota Kai, right?
She was with Dakota Kai, but that wasn't Dakota was Dakota, I feel like, was being held back because she was with Tegan. And it didn't help Dakota at that point. So for you to deny yourself 3 minutes of airtime and to show Tony Khan and the higher ups at AEW that you are willing to do the work and you're willing to do the job for a team that's already established and AEW homegrown, not a good
Right.
look. Not a good look. Like, why would you do that? You just jeopardized you made yourself look like you don't want to do business. And because you don't want to do business, I got nothing for you. So you can go down south. You could find one of these bingo halls and wrestle there all you want. But you just messed up a huge opportunity to not only be on the second biggest promotions television show, but to be featured against a up and coming tag team, lovable tag team. It's just a bad look. And like you said, Lewis, there's two sides to every story. We don't know exactly what went down verbatim in that in that locker room.
Right. Nobody knows what the conversation was. Like you said,
no one knows
verbatim.
what the conversation was about. But if you're telling me that you just refused because you were getting 3 minutes, it's just foolish, man. It's foolish. So you don't deserve to be on television.
Bro, you know how many indie wrestlers would kill for that opportunity?
Oh my God. You could go to any indie promotion right now and say, hey, would you do 3 minutes against this tag team on AEW on Collision? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
They're not going to turn that down.
They're not going to turn that down. Sidebar, man. Darby Allin just went through a table that is on fire, by the way. It went through a table.
Gotta love the flaming table spots.
The flaming table spot on AEW's Blood and Guts right now. The match is still going on as we speak.
Wow. I can't wait to catch the replay.
Yeah, just to give you guys just giving you some info. But Lewis, we'll see what happens with Tegan. She says that she's going to walk away from wrestling within the next year anyway. So I guess who cares at the end of the day?
Right, good riddance. I mean, I don't know.
Who cares? But yeah, more on that, I guess, if you care about listening or watching any more news on that. But we got some big news, though, Lou. Some big news. Got some big news, man. Your boy John Cena becomes a Grand Slam champion on this past Monday Night Raw, beating the great Dominik Mysterio. Man, I gotta tell you, bro, a couple of things, man. This Boston crowd was red, smoking hot for everything. Yeah. Like everything that happened in the ring was over. Everything. The themes, people coming out, the surprises, the show was stacked. It was entertaining. And I got to tell you, I am not mad at John Cena beating Dominik because Dominik got a huge rub, even though he lost. They chose Dominik to be in that spot in Boston. Now, some people are saying the reason that it was Dominik was because in some cases, John probably would have been booed and Dominik was cheered in some cases, right? Dominik is loved.
Yeah.
People like Dominik and people love to cheer him. People love to boo him. And in this case, it's Boston. Their best chance to put Dominik in the ring with John Cena, where John Cena is clearly going to get cheered, is Boston. And who cares about all that? That's fine. But the fact that Dominik got that chance is huge. That says a lot about what that company thinks about Dominik. Dominik has come a long way. I do want to see one thing about Dominik, though, Lou, and then maybe you might agree with me. I want to see some changes in his vocal levels. He's good with the sleaziness and the mustache thing or whatever. But Lou, he's got to change the way his voice. He's got to give some personality to his vocals more, and I need to hear him be more expressive through that. It just sounds like it's always one note. It's fine for now, but if he's going to become like some big star, if he's going to become like the guy, the man, the face at some point, he's going to have to learn how to kind of tell stories with his voice that is different than just sounding one note and then doing this. And it's not robotic, but it's more just one tone. But Cena's now the champ. Saturday night's main event, whoever he faces, probably will be for that Intercontinental title. And we may have a new champion. I don't know who he could be facing. I don't know what it could be. But I'm going to tell you right now, Lewis, they should have done this type of booking for John instead of trying to turn him heel and botched the living crap out of all of it. They should have just done a "We Love You, John" tour and forget about trying to do this big heel thing. Let's not even do that, right? Just do a whole John's greatest hits. Put him against some vets. Put him against some NXT guys. Have him show up on NXT. Have him just do that. I'd rather them do that than give us what they gave us, and now that's just a bad taste in all of our mouths. Lewis, where are you at with John Cena? This current last few dates, Intercontinental Champion, bro. Where are you at with Cena and this retirement tour?
The last time is now, right? It doesn't even matter what I think. He's got like literally 3 more appearances left.
Yeah.
I think even his biggest haters, they can't be mad at anything that he does from now till Saturday night's main event. He's gonna appear at Madison Square Garden, then he'll work War Games, Survivor Series, and then that's it. So
dude.
I agree with you 100%. Though this is what they should have been doing from the get-go. I feel like WWE waited far too long to retcon this retirement tour. They shouldn't have even bothered with the heel turn because we all know how that turned out. That was one of the most miserable flops I've ever seen WWE book for a top star. But in any case, he is now Intercontinental Champion. Does he retire with the title? Probably, right? It makes sense because I don't know. Unless he drops the title in his final match on Saturday night's main event. But they'll probably have him retire with a win. I don't think they'll have him eat a pin on his very last match. I just don't see it. So it could very well be that he retires as Intercontinental Champion, and then they'll set up a tournament or some sort of battle royal, whatever, to crown a new champion. It's well deserved. John Cena's never won the IC title.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's never won the IC title?
No.
That's nuts.
But a lot of that has to do with the fact that before he won the WWE title, he was on, like the first time, he was on SmackDown, and SmackDown was home to the United States Championship. Hence the reason why he was the U.S. champion. That's when he introduced the first spinner belt. So, that's part of the reason why he was never IC champion. It was just always on a different show. And then he became a main eventer. Like, why would you put him back in the IC title picture if he's the face of the company? So, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I ain't mad at it. Now with Dominik Mysterio, I agree. He does need a little more intonation in his delivery, but he's still relatively young. He's only 28.
Right.
If he stays healthy, he's still got another decade. I mean, we see these top guys now, right? They're still doing their thing in their late 30s, early 40s. So, who's to say 5 years from now that Dominik isn't in the main event of WrestleMania? So
exactly,
he's got time, but and not for nothing, he's come a long way in the last.
Oh no, he's come a long way for sure.
I don't even remember when he debuted, but the last several years since his debut with his dad, yeah, he's come a long way. He's one of the most over guys in the company. So, shout out to Dominik, shout out to Cena. Yeah, it was. And shout out to the Boston crowd.
Yeah,
You
man,
had
that Boston crowd showed up, man.
Nikki Bella finally turning heel.
Nikki
We
Bella,
saw that coming from like weeks
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So yeah,
Now let me.
it seemed like it was a. I didn't see the whole thing, but it appeared to be a very fun edition of Raw. Um, and that's what WWE needs more of. They need more of the fun shows
Mhm.
where you're not overthinking and they're just giving you those moments and those matches.
Now, Lewis, let me ask you something, bro. If you were to book Cena's final match, who are there three names or two names or one name that pops into your head immediately when you think of what this match means for not only Cena but for the person who he's facing? Do you want a big name? Do you want a name you're trying to push? How do you structure this where it makes sense for both parties, man?
In my mind, like in an ideal world, I would either have him go up against Edge or Adam Copeland
Mm,
or The Rock,
mm,
as a final match, because when you book it that way, it's a tribute to John Cena, but it's also a nice throwback to some classic rivalries. And Edge was really, really instrumental in John Cena's babyface run when he broke out as a main eventer, and they both were actually pivotal to each other because Cena really helped Edge get that much over as a top heel. So I think that would make perfect sense, and you can book that either way. You can have Cena win, you can have Edge win, but if Cena wins, Edge has nothing to lose because he's like on the verge of retirement himself. And then The Rock, it's just given the history between those two of the biggest icons in the history of the business. They've main evented WrestleMania twice. So, that would be something pretty cool to see.
mhm.
And it wouldn't be the greatest wrestling match, but that's not the point, right? So
Yeah, right.
that's how I would book it. Now, if I'm thinking about someone on the current roster who he could face as his final opponent, I honestly would book it. I would do CM Punk.
Mm, mm.
Like for me, CM Punk would be the perfect send off opponent for John Cena. At this point, like if we're talking current roster people, yeah, I'd do Punk.
You do Punk.
Yeah,
Does Punk eat he eats the loss? I guess
yeah, yeah. He
he
would
can
probably
take it.
eat the loss. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh.
yeah, because
Interesting.
that's another classic rivalry.
Right.
So
Yeah, that one's classic. Listen, man, I don't know where they go with this, and I'm very intrigued to see where this tournament leads and who's like the final four or
right,
whatnot. Because I honestly don't know. All I know is that New York City next Monday is going to give Boston a run for their money.
oh
If New
yeah.
York if Boston showed up like that, New York, yo,
Oh, you
New
already
York
know it's New York, man. It's Madison Square Garden. Like
they're
that's the
gonna go
hottest crowd you could
bananas.
think of.
They're gonna go bananas. And what was also bananas was those damn ticket prices. My
Oh,
God, like
oh
Lou,
boy,
it's
oh
almost
boy.
like paying for a mania. Like it's bro,
Yeah, I'm
price
not sitting
out.
ringside at that event.
No, you if you're thinking reside, you already took out a mortgage on your home for that. That's like like that is crazy. Yo,
Yeah,
no,
nah,
it's
no.
insane, bro. But John Cena, the Grand Slam champion, and WWE's got some splaining to do, Lou. They got
Oh,
some serious splaining to do, bro. Westside Gunn alleges WWE kicked him out of Raw after spending $5K on a seat, and not only just being kicked out of Raw, but WWE don't be showing love to no Westside Gunn, bro. If you know, I didn't notice this until this story came out. As many times as he's been in the crowd, they've shown Jelly Roll and his entourage more than Westside Gunn, who not only reps WWE and pro wrestling mad hard, but spends the cash, writes music that people love and that is wrestling oriented, and WWE got no love for Westside. This is disappointing. Now Westside has his own promotion, Fourth Rope, which is gaining some ground.
Yeah.
And in one of his recent posts, he said, I'm gonna focus on my promotion. And trust me, Westside's gonna get that promotion. It's gonna be popping. It's gonna be hot. Lou, what's your thoughts on this whole thing, man? WWE not showing Westside love. People calling it racist. People saying, nah, it ain't right. Blah blah blah. What's going on here, man? Should Westside just stick to Fourth Rope and maybe occasionally AEW, or can they mend the fences? Can they mend this relationship?
Well, Westside Gunn is a wrestling fan. I can't even say fan. He's a fanatic.
Yeah.
Because he's been ringside, front row, on camera
Everywhere.
for both WWE, AEW, TNA. He's just a fan of the business. I got to get this out of my system. Boom, 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 boom. Shout out to Westside Gunn, man. Look, I was very confused when I saw Westside Gunn's post because I'm always I follow him on my personal page. We follow him on our podcast page. So I'm always looking at his stories, looking at all his upcoming music posts and shit like that. And it took me by surprise when I saw him post that last weekend because it was like a paragraph about how hurt he was. And when I saw the video clip of him getting escorted out of the arena,
crazy.
I was like, when is this clip from? Because they weren't in Buffalo last week. So this must have been like at a recent event, but he just now is bringing it to light. Yeah, that's really surprising because he actually was discussing with Peter Rosenberg how he just dropped like 25 G's on a suite in Vegas for WrestleMania next year.
Nuts.
So if anything, he's one of WWE's most avid supporters and top consumers because he's got the money. So he's there front row spending thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm a little confused. But this dates back to an issue that stemmed from a few years ago. So I want to preface it with this. Westside Gunn, I've been a fan.
You told me about him. I had no idea who he was.
I want him to see this clip. This is Luis and Kayode from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Westside Gunn, you are the man. I've been listening to Westside Gunn as a fan. I love the whole Griselda movement. Shout out to Benny the Butcher and Conway, and Stove God Cooks has an album coming out soon. But I've been a consistent supporter and listener of Westside Gunn's music for about 6-7 years now. Because when I was put on, I was like, this is different. But what makes it unique is the fact that he's a wrestling fan and he knows what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to wrestling. Even if his song titles are not about the wrestler themselves, like I just loved how he incorporated classic WWE pro wrestling images in his album and music artwork. I love that. I love the aesthetics because hip hop is a genre that has always been underrepresented in WWE. It just always has been. When you think of all the classic pay-per-views from the last few decades, most of the time the theme songs were rock songs, pop songs, this, that, and the third. So very rarely you would see that representation from hip hop. So when you get a gangster rapper that's talking about putting a brick in an air fryer and shit like that, bringing wrestling to light and making wrestling cool, that shit was unprecedented. So it was just cool. It was just a very cool aesthetic. Gangster rap meets pro wrestling. Like, that's right up my alley. Like, seriously. So, with all that said, in the back of my mind, I was always curious about how he was able to get away with the likeness of the images that he's using, the sound bites and the clips that he's using from promos and commentary and audio that is from WWE or WCW. I was just always curious about that. So, a couple of years ago, I think they had sent Westside Gunn a cease and desist letter even before this one, and they were like, "Yo, you don't have the rights to use this in your music, so you got to cut it out." So he did, because then when I went back and listened to all of his music, his projects, I should say, on the streaming services, all the wrestling clips were cut out, all the wrestling sound bites were cut out, so it would just go straight to the music. So I was like, "Ah, fuck." But I guess they were on good terms again, because he kept on using all of the WWE images. So his most recent project was a trilogy called Heels Have Eyes, and he would use he had Ted DiBiase and Virgil on the project covers.
Yes. Yep.
So then, because of all of this that just happened with him getting kicked out of the arena and them sending him a cease and desist letter, he updated the artwork to Josh Bishop, who signed to his Fourth Row promotion. So he went on record and said that he's just not going to support WWE more. He's cutting ties. He's just going to fully pour into his own shit. So, look, good for him, man. Westside Gunn has a very entrepreneurial mindset, so he can get it done. If anybody can launch their own wrestling promotion and make it successful, it's him. He can do it.
Oh yeah.
But there's the business side of it too. This is WWE. This is TKO. They're all about their money at the end of the day. So if they're not making a buck from it, they're gonna give you a hard time. That's just that's what it comes down to. But I think it's fucked up, because they don't, WWE that is, they don't portray themselves as a company that's trying to work with Westside Gunn and make it a business partnership. For one reason or another, I who knows, right? But they could very well capitalize on this, because Westside Gunn taps into a different market, right? He taps into a market of consumers and wrestling fans that are Black, brown, Latino, hip hop heads, and it's disappointing. It really is. You give all this fucking love and camera time to people that are sitting front row that have no idea what's going on during a Monday Night Raw broadcast or a SmackDown broadcast, but yet you get somebody like Westside Gunn who is a fan, like a fan, and that's how you do him.
Yeah.
And I know my rant was long-winded, but I just felt the need to get that out.
Nah, man. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. It's a bad look, like you said. Like I said, they're promoting Jelly Roll. They're promoting all these other people that, like you said, have no idea about pro wrestling up until just a few minutes ago. They don't know anything, but they're just stars in the front row and whatnot. And you got Westside, who not only reps WWE, but wrestling culture. Like he reps it in his music and all that stuff, and he taps into a whole nother fan base that probably watches WWE here and there, but he could probably pull them in fully. And maybe that mix of hip hop and wrestling could be really special. And WWE kind of had it right in the palm of their hand. Now, if AEW is smart, someone in PR is looking at this or communications like, yo, Westside, hey, we're with Warner Brothers Discovery. We can guarantee A, B, C, and D. You come in, we give you the front row seat. We can feature your music. You capitalize on this, because that to me, that's a big drop. And a lot of people were getting WWE a really hard time in terms of we're the black artists, musical artists. If I'm missing something, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that gets that type of love from WWE that is hip hop, R&B, or some sort of artist. I mean, Metro Boomin was on a couple of shows,
Yeah,
but you didn't
yeah, you
really,
got Metro Boomin, Travis
but you
Scott.
didn't really. But that was just kind of like an appearance. It wasn't anything else, and nothing came from it. It's not like WWE was trying to get partnerships with them and like, listen, man, let's feature your music, let's do something. It was nothing like that. I mean, I don't know. It just seems a little strange that it went down like that. It's unfortunate, but again, fourth rope is out, and my man's going to focus on that. And who knows? He could be the third largest promotion in in North America. Who knows where that could go? But shout out to Westside Gunn and all his future endeavors, whatever those may be.
Yeah.
Lou, man, tonight on this recording we had a little bit of blood and guts on AEW side. The women's first blood and guts match, and the men's, which literally ended maybe 10-15 minutes ago.
Good
and
Lord.
The women were victorious, and the Death Riders win the men's blood and guts. I didn't see much of the match, but I just saw the end. Crazy spot by Darby Allin at the end. But bro, did you get a chance to see the women's at all, or
yes, I did.
Lou, the women came and showed out. That match was decent. It started off a little meh, Shout out to my girl Sky Blue.
Oh yeah,
man. Sky's been putting in the work. She still needs a better personality on that, but that's something we could work on. She needs to exude personality. But what she's been doing is showing that she's down for whatever match you need. Whatever you need Sky to do, she will do. If that means bloodying herself up, if that means off the top rope into 5 other women, like whatever you need her to do, she is down and she is willing to do the work and business, which is something Tegan didn't do. But Sky is doing it. The match was good up until the awkward ending. It was a little
yeah,
like a little like the ref was like in her ear getting, hey, 45 seconds, like we got to wrap this up kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what was your overall thoughts, bro, on the women's first blood and guts?
They made a very good first impression. I thought the women's blood and guts match was fun. Is it an instant classic? That's subjective, but you had a lot of memorable moments. There was crimson masks all over, so the women weren't afraid to sport blood. You had table spots, you had glass. That mirror spot with Tony Storm was funny. Man. You had the bed of nails on the ringside. Yeah. So the women definitely they were not playing games tonight. They definitely came to prove a point. And the point is that AEW has a good variety of female wrestlers right now on their roster. Because if that match didn't accomplish anything else, it accomplished making sure that the casual viewer or even the diehard viewer knows that AEW's women's roster is good. It's a great variety. Mina Shirakawa, Tekla, Tony Storm, Chris Statlander, Sky Blue, freaking Jamie Hayter. I mean, just good, really. Megan Bain, just very, very good talent from top to bottom. Some are better workers than others, but you're always going to have that in every promotion. Whether it's WWE, TNA, you're always going to have some that are better than others. But I think, with Willow Nightingale and, shout out to all the women in the match, because now going forward, they did a good job putting themselves over. And when you see them in the ring on a future episode of Collision or Dynamite or an upcoming pay-per-view event, you know what they're capable of now. So you'll be more inclined to pay more careful attention. But it was good. I liked it. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was very good. And then up until the ending where it was a little like seemed a little rushed, but they got it all out. They got their moves in, they got the spots in. Everyone got a chance to shine. I love that, your younger generation, like I said, like the Sky Blues, the Julia Harts, they got their chance to kind of get in there and do something like this in front of a crowd for the first time ever seeing a women's blood and guts match. And I got to tell you, AEW did a really good job on terms of pacing
Oh yeah.
the entire night. I mean, who knew? I thought they were not going to fit another match in there, but they gave you a pretty good, violent banger between him and Hobbs, Hobbs and Hangman. Hobbs takes that spot where he falls into some equipment, and I loved the detail of the entire arena's lights flickering when he hit that equipment. If you didn't see it,
I didn't see that
watch,
spot.
watch that match, because when Hobbs hits the equipment, the entire arena's lights are flickering, which is pretty cool. Just stuff like that, right? Tonight's AEW was like an okay train wreck to see, like it in a good way, way. And what I mean by that, like, there was so much stuff and carnage happening, it just kind of all flowed. In my opinion, it just kind of just went from one to the other and just made sense. I wish there were a little more stakes in the women's match. I wish there was a little more some more I guess maybe built up rivalries, that, and also on the men's side. I didn't see much of the men's side, but that was another thing, like, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. I mean, could those spots have gone to two bigger names? Yeah, it worked for this. They're just workhorses, and I think Tony Khan is the guy who just he sees that, and he kind of, I guess, awarded them with this kind of spot. Be like, hey guys, listen, main event, go out and do your thing. Because to me, they're not, I really don't care about them to see them in the blood and guts, but it worked in terms of the story that they were telling. And because they're just workhorses and they just work. And they seem like the guys, Lou, that just say yes to whatever needs to be done, which that's going to get you seen. So shout out to everybody tonight on that blood and guts. On AEW. It was a solid show from front to back. AEW is that, AEW ain't WWE. That's all I can say. Like, they're not going to do what WWE does. They're not going to follow the same formulas. You're going to get something very different and counter programming to WWE. I do want to see AEW, though, pick up in terms of crowds and promotion about AEW. I want to see them do some more mainstream stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your guys on some cameos on some TV shows or something. Like, get some mainstream PR buzz about AEW. I want to see that. I want to see that more from them. So,
hey, who knows? Maybe that's in the works for 2026.
I'm hoping so. We'll see, man. But Lou, anything else, man? Anything else we need to touch?
No, man. I rambled enough for one episode.
Well, listen, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us on episode 111. This is On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Keep following us, liking us, commenting at On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. I'm your boy Kayode, joined by none other than Luis, the administrator. Shout out to Joel on his birthday, y'all. Co-host, graphic designer of all the thumbnails that you see, y'all. Shout him out. Hope he's having a great one on his birthday. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.
You have just listened to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, a Scriptly adapted production. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at On the Mark Wrestling. And email us on onthemarkpodcast@gmail.com.